Now it's very important that when we glue this in there that it has a really strong and tight fit in there and it's glued in there in a really strong manner. Otherwise, when we put our motor in there and we go to launch our rocket, instead of the motor pushing the whole rocket up, it's just going to push this motor mount up into the rocket and it's going to burn the whole thing up. So this attachment of the motor mount in here is really, really critical. And let me show you how we're going to do that. So I'm going to draw like a really blown up example of our body tube. So this is our body tube. I'm going to do like a cutaway, right? So like I cut down right through the middle of the body tube. So sort of like I sliced it like this way and blew it up. And so this is actually like the body tube that I cut away. And then your motor mount is going to be in there like this. You're going to have your centering rings like this, right? And then you're going to have your tube for your motor mount is going to be in there, and it's going to stick out the back a little bit like that, right? Well, we have to somehow glue this in here, and what we're going to do is we're going to depend on this front motor mount for all the gluing, and we're going to put a bunch of glue right in this area and this area so that when we push the motor tube in there, it pushes the glue up, and not only does it glue it there, but it puts a big fillet of glue above it. And so that we're going to depend on this to hold the whole motor mount in, because we can't glue both the front and the back end at the same time. It just doesn't work. You can't do that. And so what we want to do for our rocket tube is somehow, before we push this motor mount in there, we got to get a big blob of glue just at the right place so we can slide this up in there. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do next, is to put that big blob of glue in. So to put the big blob of glue in, we've got to figure out where it is that this motor mount's going to be. Now when I'm done pushing this motor mount in, and if I have the last centering ring right at the bottom, this is where the motor mount's going to be, and I'm going to want to put a bunch of glue in this space on the inside, but in this area from here to here. See, right where the centering ring is. So I'm going to mark that just kind of approximately on my outside of my tube. And so what I want to do is somehow on the inside of the tube at this place, I want to get a bunch of glue all the way around at that place. And in fact, if I was going to make a mistake, I want to put the glue down a little lower here, because when I push this in, it'll push it up. And so what I'm going to take is one of our craft sticks, and I'm going to put it right here, so the end of it's not quite all the way up to where the top of the motor mount is going to go, where the centering tube is. And then I'm going to mark the back side of it here. And what I want to do is I'm going to put a big blob of glue on there, and I'm going to stick that in here, and then I'm going to rotate it around. I'm going to put my thumb right where that line is and stick it up in there and rotate it around and until I have a nice line of glue in there. And so what we're going to do is you're going to mark this point where the centering ring is, right? Going to mark that on the outside of your tube, the whole width of it there. You're going to take your stick and you're going to put it not all the way up to the top, but most of the way up to the top. And then mark on the bottom the place where it hits the bottom of the tube. Then we're going to put a big blob of glue on there. We're going to stick it in there, and then we're going to hold it up to the top and rotate it around. And then we're going to look inside of it to see if the glue is all the way around. If it's not all the way around, we're going to do some more. This is one of the few places where probably using too much glue is a good thing. You want to be careful when you do this that you don't get glue all the way up and down the tube. If you get glue down in the bottom of the tube, it's going to be hard to push this in. Okay? So I know where my glue is supposed to go. I've got this marked here. Now I'm going to take my wood glue, and I'm going to put a great big glob of glue on the bottom. I'm going to put as big a glob as I can without it all running off. All right, so I have a great big glob of glue on there. I'm going to stick this in there without getting the glue up on the edge, and I put it up there. Got my thumb on a line, and I'm going to go all the way around. Right, and then I'm going to look in there. This can make a mess. A piece of paper is always a good thing to have. And I didn't get the glue all the way around. In fact, I didn't even get it close to all the way around. So I'm going to put more glue on there. And find my spot. I'm going to stick it up in there. again, I'm going to look up in there, and now I have glue all the way around. Okay, this is the trickiest part of the whole operation. So now that glue is, it's not just up there with my stick, it's come back quite a ways. So there's a bunch of glue inside there. And that glue will grab this really fast. And so when you go to put this in, you really want to push it in with one smooth motion. You don't want to stop part way and then try and push it some more, else you'll probably never get there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that in the end. And now that I'm ready to push it in, I'm going to try and push it in all in one smooth motion. There we go. And I've got it all in there in one smooth motion. Try not to stop part way, because if you stop part way, it's going to get stuck. All right? And so now I've got that all glued in there. I'm just going to set it aside to dry. And it's going to have to dry for an hour or so before you can do anything with it. And it needs to dry overnight before you can launch your rocket. All right? So now just set that aside, and we'll go on to the next step.